Welcome my Mercurial mercenaries. This is a follow-up video to a song that I posted called the Peppermint Strays. If you haven't watched that already, click down below. Now, I appreciate that these videos are seldom watched because people want to see and hear about things that they know. It's like being in a pub, watching a band and shouting at the stage, "Play something we know!" Never had that before. But this is a song that I wrote about 20 years ago. And this particular song was from a time when I used to do demos on an old Tascam 4-track recorder. And I still have the demo. As far as I remember, and this is a bit like an archaeological dig, this song came fairly easily. But in the space between the demo recording and recording it in the studio, it did go through a little evolution. Not revolution. Evolution. But not too much. And if I were to play the demo version, you'd see how similar they are. And I remember 20 years ago, walking into the studio, putting a tape into the producer's tape player and saying, the final song, we want it to sound something like this. And he was a little taken aback by a band coming in with already in mind the final product. But I think we achieved my goal. And also, because this is the difficulty when you're trying to recreate a demo, also, I think the final version is better than the demo. But interestingly, in the process of thinking about doing this video, I did listen to the demo version again. And there are bits and pieces on there that I prefer. But that's the way of the world, and any songwriters out there will understand that. Sometimes you can never quite recapture that experience, the emotion of the demo. But right now, let's re-watch the Peppermint Strays video, but this time I'll be pausing it and talking shit over the top of it. Headphones? No, take the glasses off, don't need the glasses.
1, 2, 3, go!
So straight away, 1, 2, 3, go! Clicking of the drumsticks. Just that little thing. Back in the day, I was a bit of a punk rocker. And there's something about that kind of Ramon shout. 1, 2, 3, 1! Just, you know, see, it's so easy to edit it out. But leave it in, and it gives a little bit of authenticity. It's like a little bit of a peep of a golden ticket. Shh. And straight in. And straight in with what is the main riff of the song. So if you had to sum up the Peppermint Strays. And luckily, I've said it as a negative before, but luckily, no one's ever asked what the Peppermint Strays means. Those words, the Peppermint Strays. No one in the band, no producer, no one has ever heard the song. No one has ever asked me, and we've had conversations like this in the comment section before. And an artist once commented and said, do you know what, Mercurial number 6, no one has ever asked me what my art means. Basically, no one cares. And it's sort of interesting and refreshing to do some of these reactions where I react mainly to the likes of MGMT and especially Tame Impala, where the fan base scrutinises everything that Kevin Parker does, everything that he says, every gesture. If he farted in the street, someone would attribute some sort of significance to it. So it's nice to see, and let's face it, it is teenagers, it's the youth of today, poring over lyrics. And in some ways it does remind me of a time, like I said, like an archaeological dig into my past of music. There was a time, I suppose, where I at least paid lip service to caring what lyrics were about. But on the whole, when you enter the real world, and even the Tame Impala fans will one day enter the real world, no one cares. So we have here a song called the Peppermint Strays. No one's ever asked me what it means, and because this is an archaeological dig and I've done no research, I can't remember what it means particularly. But it meant something on the day that I wrote it. And if you want to go back through my previous videos and look at one called the Curiously Twisted, this song was, I think, written the same day. There was a little period of time where I felt like I was on fire. And re-watching this song, and I have put it on again and again a couple of times over the last 24 hours, it's pretty catchy. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I labelled it, I tagged it as a pop song. And Fishy Paul said, you know, I'm not really into pop songs. It's not really a pop song, it's a rock song, but it's catchy enough to be a pop song. But anyway, that main riff. Da 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 da. You're trapped in a dead place where you don't wanna be. Streets full of people that you don't wanna see. So you take now. One little point there, and something I've done over the years, I like to tie moments of songs into the rhythm section, into the bass and the drums. Even if it's just the words, so you, ba-bow, so you, something. And I've noticed, I was listening to The Killers in the car a minute ago on songs like Somebody Told Me, where they do a similar thing, tying in little bits and pieces of the song with the bass and the drums. It's a well-established thing to do, but so you. When it comes to the lyrics, these had a little bit of work. If I put the demo on in a minute, you'll see what I mean. But I quite like, you're trapped in a dead place where you don't want to be. Streets full of people that you don't want to see. Let's not bask too heavily in the lyrics themselves, because as I've said on every video in this series, lyrics can mean whatever you want them to mean, and they meant something different to me 20 years ago than they do on re-listening to today. But you're trapped in a dead place you don't want to be, streets full of people but you don't want to see, so you take your pictures and live your dreams. This is another song about, in a way, this song is commenting on this series, that idea of not living for today, but basking in the memories of yesterday, because you felt that they were better. Any memories of yesterday were probably better than the present, which isn't true, because memories are just viewed through rose-tinted. I've never owned a pair of rose-tinted spectacles, but I think John Lennon did. There was a guy at school, actually called Mark, who used to wear rose-tinted spectacles a lot. So some people do go around wearing rose-tinted spectacles. I wonder when they reminisce, if you're genuinely wearing a pair of rose-tinted spectacles. I don't know. I'll have to try it out. Does anyone just try it out? I might go and buy a pair of rose-tinted spectacles. You're trapped in a dead place where you don't want to be. Streets full of people that you don't want to see. So you take your pictures and live your dreams, faking like the models in your magazines. I fucking nailed it. You seem to crack, easy to go forward when you can't go back. Just there again, that's what I was talking about, that Killers thing. That's what I was talking. Actually, this song was written before the Killers existed. But that thing about linking, I've always done this, linking. You seem to crack. Get the drummer to hit the snare. You seem to crack. Together, you seem to crack. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. It is, isn't it? It's about the difficulty of, this is just dawning on me now, this song is about the difficulty of living in the present. And the only way you can go through it is to say, well, it's easier to go forward than it is to go back. It's impossible to go back. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task, what can I say? Time for a change. Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task, what can I say? I mean, this is kind of a 3-chord song, you know. The verses, the chorus, everything revolves around the same musical motif, whether it's the verse or the chorus. It's that da 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 da. You're sitting pretty, you're all alone. So call it prison, you call it home. I like that. I'd always liked that line. I was really down at this time listening back. This has been a theme through lots of these revisits to old songs of mine from the past, from 20 years ago. It makes me certainly realise something about my psyche at the time, but you're sitting pretty, you're all alone. Some call it prison, you call it home. Fuck me. The years are grey, you're blacking out, the world is dead. And I think the demo said, you're sitting pretty, you're all alone. Some call it prison, you call it home. The years are grey, you're blacking out, the world is dead, you have no doubt. But I think what happened in the preparation for the studio recording was I thought it would be better to just cut the song at the word dead. So you lose, you have no doubt, but I think it works.
Years are grey, you're blacking out, the world is dead.
So in the demo, it would go,
The years are grey, you're blacking out, the world is dead.
you had no doubt,
Your mind's a mess, you should get some help.
but I think, and look, you know, every band will do this at a certain point. I remember Jane's Addiction used to do it with the song Stop. Stop! Go! There's something about having a word, and it's usually a word like stop, but I think it works with dead as well, where you cut the song dead. And it has to go dead. Nothing can ring through it. And if you're playing it live, everyone has to, we're talking drummer grabbing the cymbal, everything has to be dead. Do that.
Dead.
And what I like there, contrary to what I've just said, but it fits the theme, everything goes completely dead, but just listen to the way there's still life in the vocal.
The years are grey, you're blacking out, the world is dead.
Dead! Dead!
Your mind's a mess, you should get some help. All those conversations with yourself, is there a cure?
Your mind's a mess, you should get some help, all those conversations with yourself. Is there a cure for feeling blue? The final cut will never be for you. I mean, that the final cut will never be for you, that's bleak. That's bleak, but it is referencing an old Buzzcocks song. So, even though I'm singing that, and it sounds about as bleak as you can get, there is humour behind the eyes, believe me, my mercenaries.
Is dead. Your mind's a mess, you should get some help. All those conversations with yourself, is there a cure? For feeling blue, the final cut will never be for you.
Right, now listen to the tying in of the rhythm and the bass there.
You should get some help. All those conversations with yourself, is there a cure? For feeling blue, the final cut will never be for you.
And you've got to have a rat-a-tat-tat. The final cut will never be for you. Digga-digga-digga-dig. Digga-digga-digga-dig. Yes. It's just that old punk spirit. Even when I'm doing a pop song, there's punk spirit. And then we're into the second chorus for what are, again, a collection of really bleak lyrics on one of the most uplifting pop songs that I've ever written. And having, like I said before, keep repeating myself, revolving and evolving, I've listened to this song a few times now over the last 24 hours, and it's my song, Blow My Own Trumpet. I really like this song. I really like it. It's really catchy. I like it. Into the second chorus, where I think I changed the words slightly, but
Yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. Is this the way?
is this the way? Will I see you again? Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. Is this the way? Will I see you again? You're not here anymore. There's nothing anymore. You're not here anymore. There's nothing anymore. These lyrics are bleak. You're trapped in a dead place where you don't want to be. Streets full of people you don't want to see. So you take your pictures and live your dreams, faking like the models in your magazines. When you're tied together, you seem to crack. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. Thinking about it now, well, I'll come back to it, but don't let me forget to come back to the magazines bit.
We'll see you again. You're not here anymore. There's nothing anymore. She can't stay. The peppermint strays.
Okay, so we're going back to a different era now. You've got to put yourself in the headspace of 20 years ago. There was a time through the 80s where guitar solos were becoming the thing. Grunge hit in the 90s and destroyed the reputation of the guitar solo a little. By the noughties, you even had bands like Metallica not wanting to have guitar solos in their songs. Now, the reason why there's very few guitar solos in my songs is basically because I can't play them very well. But also, there was something around specifically 20 years ago. And you've got to remember, this is the era of that kind of new metal thing. And the combination of elements of dance music occurring in rock music. It got to the point where even I had record scratching in my song. Just putting it out there. This happened on the day in the studio. It wasn't supposed to be there. I heard it. I liked it. It's there. Hindsight's 2020 with the space of 20 years. Would I still have that record scratching there? Not sure. I mean, I think it works. I think it works. But now, this is the guitar solo. And this is about the level of my guitar solo. Punk rock spirit, Kurt Cobain vibe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we've got a yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, I am not the sort of songwriter who includes yeah, yeah, yeahs in his songs on the whole. And yet, I think it was on the demo, because I just sang it onto the cassette tape on the Tascam 4-track. When we got into the studio, there it is. It's a yeah, yeah, yeah. I've even got a give it to me now. I mean, generic shit that I wouldn't usually put in a song. But this song, it just kind of demanded pop cliche. We've even got like a Spice Girls-y bit. I'll give it to you now. You gotta sing a zig. Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. Is this the way? Will I see you again? No, 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 no. Again tying in. No, 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 no. They're the things that, in my experience, raise the final product from the demo. Because you're when you listen to a songwriter, the brave songwriters who are prepared to let you hear the demo versions of their final songs, you often will not hear elements like that in the demo version. To the idea of tying no, 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 no with a dun, 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 dun in your initial thoughts when you're writing the song, it's highly unlikely. But those little bits and pieces in the final product give the impression of a band vibe, a collective spirit, people who have been together in a room, not doing that, working on something and clicking. I just love that little bit. You're not here anymore. On the tom, that's just beautiful. Not here anymore. So memorable that even on this basically pressing play on the song and miming to it for the first time with no practice, I still remembered. Not here anymore. Listen to it again, it's so cool. The producer, I think I was on the choruses. I'm mainly, I think, double tracking the vocals. Yeah. So on the moments like that, there's nothing anymore. On those moments where it's not double tracked, we're putting the vocal through a phaser. And on the day, I think the producer just did that. He said, well, why don't you just put that vocal for a phaser? It's not the sort of thing I would necessarily choose to do. It's a bit of an odd thing to do. I'm not sure if it works particularly, but it's certainly become what I'm used to when I listen to this song. So we've got record scratching and vocals through phasers. Right. I mean, let's listen to the absolute chaos in the background with the drums. It's beautiful. We've got lots of yeah and oh no. Mistakes. I've made a few. Here, in hindsight, I've made a boo-boo on this end section. The song's called The Peppermint Strays, but I get so carried away in holding that note. The Peppermint Stray, the Peppermint Stray, oh no. Yeah, I forgot to put the S on the end of strays. And it does bug me. It works, because the Peppermint Strays doesn't really mean anything. You could probably have a singular Peppermint Stray. And maybe I'm singing about, the song's about the plural, but the Peppermint Stray, yeah, the Peppermint Stray, oh no. I wish I'd said, the Peppermint Strays, yes, as, the Peppermint Strays, yeah, the Peppermint Strays, oh no. But I didn't. Hindsight 2020. I like the ending with the drummer just do a rock end. Yeah, boom. Well into to AC/DC at the time, but just how tight that is. You have to be tight. I mean, you can obviously do that in the studio. To be fair, we were tight live as well. But let's just go back, because I've mentioned the strays bit. Likewise, there's a moment here at the beginning where I say a bit of that magazine where it's the timing of the vocal and the way I say the word magazine. I did it on the day, and I kind of, just listen to this, right?
So you take pictures and live your dreams, faking like the models in your magazines when you're tired.
Faking like the models in your magazines. So that's how I'd sung it that day in the studio. Faking like the models in your magazines. Now, the line should be, faking like the models in your magazines. It's subtle, but I always regretted that. Faking like the models in your magazines. There's nothing wrong with that, and lots of singers would sing it like that, and I sung it like that, and that's how the song is. That's how it is. But it should have been faking like the models in your magazines. Much more like much more punk. Faking like the models in your magazines is much more airy-fairy, arty-farty. Faking like the models in your magazines. When you're tied together, you seem to crack. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. I can see why I might have done it, because the whole verse is so sharp. Take your pictures. Take your pictures and live your dreams. Faking like the models in your magazines. When you're tied together, you seem to crack. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. The whole thing's like, dad. So I might have felt like, take your pictures and live your dreams. Faking like the models in your magazines. When you're tied together, you seem to crack. To give the word magazines a different feel to the word crack. However, not sure. Also, when it comes to that guitar solo, it's a similar thing. I'm not sure I got the feel of this solo right. The slimy bit. So I go da 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 da. Not sure. I think it could have been a bit sharper. It's all a bit slidey. I like the that bit's all right, but no, no, no. It's like no, no, no. You know what I mean? You don't know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give it to me now. You gotta give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task.
I gotta say, if you're thinking that you gotta, if you're thinking I'm gonna regret that bit, no, that's brilliant. And live, you gotta give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. Is this the way? Will I see you again? No, 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 no. What's it all about? What's it all about, though? That's a tricky one. I think if you wrote those lyrics out and just read them as a poem or a story, I think it's pretty obvious what the song's about. I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. It is, I mean, the first two lines. You're trapped in a dead place where you don't want to be. Streets full of people that you don't want to see. It's about isolation, loneliness, rejection, alienation. It's quite worrying to hear that I wrote lyrics like that back then. But I don't think you can ever truly escape those kind of feelings. I would expect that everyone feels like that from time to time. When it comes to the instrumentation, it's very much a punk pop song in the Buzzcocks spirit. Fast, frenetic drums, bass lines that are mainly playing the root notes but playing around with it a little bit, guitars that are quite sharp and jagged, not doing anything particularly fancy, with a kind of pop vocal on top. And overall, the song's over in less than 2 minutes. So, how long does it take, actually, the song? How long is the song? About 3... Well, it says here it's 3 minutes exactly, so it's a nice length, said the nun to the bishop, and I am very proud of it. Just out of interest now, it's not something I would usually do, but let's just listen to the demo version. So this will be a version that I knocked up in a few minutes on a 4-track Tascam recorder 20 years ago, using, I don't know, drum machines and whatever. Just to give an indication of how the song should be. And I would have played it to my bandmates, they would have learnt their parts. And it's the very initial idea. And what I would do back then is I would create whole albums of material. And I'd give it to people and they would tell me what their favourites were. For instance, at this particular time, I produced 6 songs on this. I mean, I even gave the album, EP, whatever you want to call it, I even gave it a little name and everything. And of the 6 songs, the band chose for us to record in the studio Peppermint, Strays and Curiously Twisted. There are, however, 4 songs from that same session, from that era of my life when I was on fire, that have never been recorded. And I listened to one of them earlier, and it's probably the best song on there, but it's never been recorded, and it was really sweet to listen to. But anyway, here's the Peppermint Strays. So it's just an initial idea, 2 minutes 56 seconds, an initial. Let's just play it. So you can hear the same main riff there.
Another story, another song. How can one person always be so wrong? Don't put your trust in anyone. Let me bring you home. I take your pictures and live your dreams. I'm thinking like the models in your magazines when you're tired.
faking like the models in your magazines. The demo version. Yeah, look, the lyrics are different at the beginning. I probably wasn't happy with them, so I changed them. I've also changed that riff slightly. So it started off with the same thing looped. Da 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 da, and I obviously changed it to da 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 da. Let's listen to that again.
Another story, another song. How can one person always be so wrong? Don't put your trust in anyone. They only bring you harm.
I mean, blimey. I mean, they might be different lyrics. So we're not into you're trapped in a dead place where you don't want to be, streets full of people you don't want to see. We've got another story, another song. How can one person always be so wrong? Don't put your trust in anyone. They'll only do you wrong.
Take your pictures and live your dreams. I'm thinking like the models in your magazines. When you're tied together, you seem to crack. Easy to go forward when you can't go back. Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. What can I say? Time for a change. You're sitting pretty, you're all alone. Some call it present, you call it home. The years are grey, you're blacking out. The world is dead, you have no doubt. Your mind's a mess, you should get some help. Honest conversations with yourself. Is there a cure for feeling blue? The final cut will never be for you. Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. Is this the way? Will I see you again?
It's practically exactly the same.
They're not here anymore. There's nothing anymore. She can't stay. The peppermint strays.
Exactly the same. No record scratching. The wandering bass line. I suppose it's laid back instrumentalism. Guitar solo. Okay, there's no yeah. I was wrong about that.
Give yourself a chance. You set me quite a task. What can I say? Time for a change. They're not here anymore. There's nothing anymore. She can't stay. The peppermint strays.
It's exactly the same.
The peppermint strays. Yeah.
I say the S there,
Peppermint strays. Oh.
and again. See?
Peppermint strays. Yeah. Peppermint strays.
Ran out of breath there, I think. There you go. So that's the demo version of the Peppermint Strays. And it's, I would say, almost exactly the same as the final version. There are bits that are better. I think I say the word magazine's better. I like the fact that I put the S's on the word strays. That's important. Something that was missed on the day of the recording. But like I say, hindsight's 2020. On the other hand, the final version has those elements where the vocals and the instrumentation are properly keyed together. And like I was saying earlier, they're the bits that raise your song from amateur to professional. And overall, I like that song a great deal. It might be one of the catchiest songs I've ever written. I just wish I knew what the Peppermint Strays were or are. Any ideas? Answers on a postcard, please, below. Thank you very much. Let me know if you want more of these. Over and